Good morning. Hello to all of our listeners. You are tuned into 94.0. Welcome to our show, The Unspoken Taboos, with your hosts, Hafsa and Tahreem. I hope you're all well today and enjoying this slightly dull Tuesday morning. We certainly have an exciting show packed with a guest speaker. Tahreem is joining us. He's joining us remotely. Hello, Tahreem. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How are you doing, Hafsa?
Alhamdulillah, I am well. And where are you, my darling, today? You haven't joined us in the studio yet.
Well, I'd like to sitting on the beach, sitting on a mocktail, enjoying the sunlight.
Oh no, I envy you right
I'd
now.
like to say that.
You wish.
No, actually,
Wishful
I'm just stuck in a lot of traffic. On my way to the studio, enjoying the blissful weather of Great Britain.
Definitely. Right. Now, before we start the show today, I just want to start off by telling everyone a little story. So about 2 weeks ago, me and Tahreem were out on a breakfast date. So we sat down, enjoying our breakfast, and we were looking around the room, looking at all the customers on different tables, and we both were trying to guess whether any of these were married or single. So we're looking around, and Tahreem points a finger at this one guy, and he goes, "Hafsa, he is definitely married." I said, "Tahreem, what makes you so sure?" She goes, "But just look at the look on his face. He looks so stressed and upset." And then we both just burst out laughing. Now, obviously, we're not trying to make a mockery of marriage here, but the institution of marriage is certainly crumbling over the years. And this is the basis of our topic for our show today. Why the decline in marriages, and are marriages overrated? So do call in to us on the studio on 0333 444 0940. We would love to hear your views. Now, I just want to cast our mind back to the 90s, when growing up. A woman's primary objective was to, after she's finished her education, was to, get married, raise a family, have children, and that was what her focus was. But times have changed, and more people are looking to stay single. And it's quite common in the BAME and South Asian Muslim communities, women and men, to be single in their 40s and their 50s. It's not like how it used to be, where after you finished uni back in the days, as soon as you've graduated, the rishtas will start coming in, and your parents are, looking to find you a suitable partner. And it was quite unheard of. It was quite common for women to get married in their mid-20s or at the very latest, in the late 20s, and that was it. But now it's, times have changed. So I want to just delve and look into,
everybody had a sell-by date, didn't they? Oh no, ab age guzar gayi hai, jaldi shadi kar do, get her married off or him married off quickly. They're aging. Everybody had a shelf line back then, and I don't think that shelf line exists anymore.
Yeah, but why? Why is that? What has changed? And I think let's just want to think about some of the reasons as to why people are not choosing to get married, or not at all, but looking to, it's certainly not on everyone's priority list right now. I think one of the reasons is fear of losing your independence, right? Now, we all know that when you enter a marriage, it's about compromise. It's all about give and take. Any decision you make about your life, whether it's a career progression, or what are we going to do this weekend? Are we visiting your parents, my parents? Am I going out with my friends? You have to consult your partner, take into account their views, their wishes, their feelings, everything you do. And I think people fear that, why am I having to give up my independence? For what exactly? And then we all know when children come in, the equation gets even more complicated, and then it's like there is no me time. So I think losing your independence, fear of losing your independence once you're married, is certainly one of the reasons. Tahreem, what do you think?
Yes, I agree with you. I think losing that element of independence is definitely one of the main factors. But I also think that a lot of people now, the younger generation and the people that are single and looking to get married, I think their standards and their expectations from a partner have evolved to a degree where some of them are quite unrealistic.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is certainly about managing expectations, and I think we are going to discuss that slightly later in the show. But I think another reason is that, do you not think that there are still too many gender roles in a marriage? that women are still expected to do what the sociologists would say, the triple shift: go to work, raise the children, and do all the domestic duties at home. I think, and since the feminist movement, women are increasingly reluctant to give up their careers and then focus more on their goals and their aspirations. And I certainly think that in the South Asian BAME community, although we encourage our daughters to go out, get an education, have a career, yet when it comes to marriage, you're expected to sideline all of that, and that isn't your priority. Your priority is fully fulfilling your role as a daughter-in-law, your role as a wife, and more importantly, your role as a mother if you were to have children. And I think women know this, so they think twice before walking into it, and they think, well, why am I having to get, I want to develop myself and achieve my personal goals, my career goals, get that promotion before I enter a marriage, because I'm going to be expected to sideline all of that, because that still does exist. I think that stereotypical role of, yes, you're now married and everyone else is now priority, and you've got to put aside your wishes and your feelings.
But Hafsa, don't you think that women have evolved and women are becoming more independent, and yes, the triple shift element is very much there, but I personally feel that the one species that hasn't really evolved or has evolved but yet not accepted the reality of today's day and age and what today's marriage should be like is the male species, and more importantly the mother of the male species. Because the mother-in-law, the mother has not evolved and is not that independent woman that the daughter-in-law is. She has this expectation from her daughter-in-law, her bahu, her nu, what you want to call her, that, yeah, you know what, you're going to do everything I did for my husband, but at the same time fails to understand that her son and this daughter-in-law have met in a generation. They are a generation apart, and they've met in and piling this pressure on the son to make the daughter-in-law meet the expectations of the in-laws. They should be more along the lines of, hey son, you know what, your daughter, your wife, she's amazing, she's educated, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's contributing into the household in more ways than one. Give her a break.
I can
be a man.
Yeah. No, I can agree. I wouldn't agree on if it's just down to the male species. I think that's more down to your mindset and mentality. And I suppose the older generation still do have that traditional view when it comes to daughter-in-laws. And I suppose it's how you've been brought up, and your influences around you and the expectation that you have. And having these conversations with your parents that, look, if I was to get married, I was to bring, my wife home, I want her to achieve her career goals. I want her to go out and do this and travel or whatever that may be. And just clearing that. And I think sometimes men are torn between pleasing their parents or their mothers and their wives. And I think some of them, I suppose it's about striking that balance, because I do understand the importance of trying to please your parents. It is their responsibility to try and keep their parents happy, fulfill their wishes. But yes, I do understand that, it doesn't, that burden and that responsibility does not just lie on a daughter-in-law. But yeah, I think that traditions, those traditions still do exist in some cultures and some societies, and it does need to change. But I don't know if I agree if it's just to do with men. I think it's both men and women, and I think it is just really down to how liberal you are and open-minded you are when it comes to your views on marriage and expectations. But yeah, that's certainly an interesting one. Another one is, now if I look at the impact of the divorce rates now. In the UK, 50% of the marriages end up in, people end up divorcing. So I think for a lot of young people, they probably might have witnessed some, maybe even their own parents getting divorced, or extended family members, or friends they know, or friends of mothers, parents, or dads, or whatever that may be. And they just get cold feet because they think, well, why get married? We're just going to end up in a divorce. So I think, with divorce rates skyrocketing, that certainly is putting people off of wanting to get married. What do you think?
I think the divorce rate is ridiculous. 1 in 3 people get divorced nowadays. So if you're in a restaurant or in any kind of environment, in your workplace right now, or even at home when you have siblings, you turn around and look at each other, because 1 in 3 of you is going to struggle with that element of divorce. And I think it's such a taboo that it puts us off, but it's something that we need to embrace, because it's for the greater happiness of your life, I suppose.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think we could do a whole show on divorce rates and the increase, and why it's so common in our communities nowadays. But yeah, that's definitely one of them. Now, I think another final point is like, now for my parents and their generation, the milestone for your, like we said, the early 20s was getting married, buying a home, having a children. But now people want the freedom to focus on what you want to do as an individual. And that's more important nowadays, choice, free will, goals, aspirations, these sort of things didn't exist. And, back in the days, it was a necessity to get married. People did it for money, status, power. And if you look at the Islamic reasons, and obviously those reasons still stand today, marriage is, completing half your deen. It is fulfilling a sunnah. You both signing a contract to be faithful to one another, and that's it. You've made a lifelong commitment. But more and more people are now are delaying marriages for lots of different reasons. Do call us in with your views. The studio line number is 0333 0940. Now, I think another reason, like, I know that more and more couples are looking to cohabit and just staying in relationships. I think another reason people probably don't choose to get married, and I'm not just talking from the Muslim community and the South Asian BAME community, but those that aren't religious, is because if you decide that you want to have children, you don't need to be married to be a parent. You can, there's lots of options now. You sperm donor, egg donor, things like that. Because although some may say that to raise good children, you need to be in a nuclear family. But you don't. If you want to be a good parent, it's about how you love the child and, responsibility and actions that you take. But singlehood is certainly much more appealing to people nowadays. And, marriage is now seen as a burden, really, and as opposed to the beautiful bond that it actually is. Another reason, I think, to be honest, is cheap access to sex. I think, it's so easily available, not even just intimacy, but even just if you want somebody just to talk to, like a pen pal or someone who fulfill your needs emotionally, you're getting on dating apps. How hard is it nowadays? You don't have to be married to have your desires fulfilled, whether that's physically or emotionally, and whichever way. But yeah, there are lots of reasons that we can go into. I think what we're going to now do is take a break. We will come back and we will have our guest speaker on. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. And remember to call us in on 0333 0940. We'll play in the sheet for you. And I hope you enjoy this, and we will be back.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk or contact our sales team now on 07944 565616. That's 07944 565616. Advertise with Revive FM.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximize the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no-obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
Looking to get your finances in order? MR Accountants has you covered. We provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services. We ensure you're kept up to date with the latest legislation, and our client-focused approach helps us plan your business finances from savings to investments. We are MR Accountants. Visit our website at mraccountants.com or call us on 0203 432 9138.
Join the largest annual help feed campaign on the planet, Qurbani. Due to hunger, millions die this Eid. Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your Qurbani can save lives. Participate from as little as £40 or choose as you like. Add an Eid gift for only £30. Donate, sacrifice, feed by choosing your Qurbani through Minhaj Welfare Foundation. Call us now on 0300 3030 777 or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
With over 40 years' experience in the industry, Plachette Carpets is the place to go for all your carpets, laminates, linos, and wood flooring. We have an established network of suppliers, which means we can offer some of the best prices in town. We offer free estimates, free measurements, and now even free fitting. Call us now on 0208 472 8568 or visit us at 157 Plachette Road, Upton Park, London, E13 0QZ.
Everyone can now get free rapid COVID-19 tests twice a week. They show your results within 30 minutes. They also show you're doing what you can to protect your loved ones, your friends, your workmates, and that you want to keep life moving again. Around 1 in 3 people who have COVID-19 have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. That could be a friend, a relative, a workmate. It could even be you. Rapid tests are easy to get from nhs.uk/get tested. Let's take this next step safely.
Ahoy there, matey. So you want to be a pirate, do you? Well, guess what? You now can at Fairlock Country Park. Come and hire one of our fantastic new boats at the lake. Find us on the tube on the Central Line or drive down from East London. Fun for the whole family, har! You can row, pedal, or even try kayaking. We're open on weekends, all school holidays from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come on down and set sail at Fairlock Country Park.
Revive FM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile,
and online.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hafsa and Tahreem on the Unspoken Taboos. That's the name of our show. And you can hear us on 94.0 Revive FM. I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. It's a lovely, lovely grey / chilly / miserably British day today.
British
lots of traffic en route to the studio, I must admit. And the topic is just, giving me shivers up my spine, Hafsa. It's a really good topic, and I feel like it's not discussed about enough. What do you think?
Definitely, no, it's not. It certainly is a taboo. Marriages, the decline of marriages, and are marriages overrated though? So although there is decline of marriages, I think, is it something that, our expectations of marriages and, what do we get in return, and how does that emotionally satisfy us? Do we put marriages on a pedestal? I think it is. I think we're instilled with these norms and values that marriage equates to a lifetime of happiness, because that is what the movies show, the novels, and the fairy tales. And then we cling on to this myth that being single is lonely, and that will create unhappiness for you, don't we? What do you think?
You know what? Although we do live in a modern day and age where almost 50% of people are single, you realize this, right? And marriage is not something that comes to their mind as a first or second or even third milestone to achieve in life.
Yeah.
But even today, I do feel like people that don't have a ring on their finger felt left out a little bit. There are certain things that you can't really do if you're not married, or there are certain things you can't really do if you don't have a partner. Such weddings, events, couples dinners and whatnot. Although you can be very comfortable not being married, and but is it overrated? Somewhat, yes, it is, because honestly speaking, being single and not being married is a state of being now, rather than a state, a choice that we make.
Yeah, but these elements that the perks of being in a marriage, you could get in a romantic relationship as well. You don't have to sign. To some, it's just like, well, we're just signing a piece of paper. Now, although I understand that in the in the Muslim communities or other religions, yes, for example, it's haram to be in a relationship or cohabiting, but then people still do it, and it does exist, and I think it's very much brushed under the carpet.
They do it. And it is obviously completely against our religion and our culture. But so how can we overcome this?
Yeah, but why are people afraid to sign that paper? It's like they feel like they're signing your life away. What is it? What is
technically you are? You've got to sign it how many times? 7 times?
What's creating that fear in people that, oh my God, if I get married, is it a fear of commitment?
Well, you know what? I'd love to hear what the listeners have to say. Tell us a number.
Oh, could you call us in with your views? 0333 444 0940.
Yes,
Our
give us a
marriage
call
is
because we want to know,
overrated.
are they overrated? Are you married? Do you feel like you're in bliss in heaven, or is your marriage a little overrated? Did you get married too young? Did you sign the papers away too late? Do you feel like you could have married younger, or did you marry young and feel like you should have married later? Let's discuss this in a little bit more
Definitely,
detail. I'd
yeah.
love to hear what the listeners are thinking.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, do you know what? I think people walk into marriages thinking they're fulfilled, their happiness, right? They're happy now. They expect, but are you walking into a marriage to be, striving to be happy, or, because I think personally, marriage is about growth. If I get married, don't get me wrong, and happiness, I think happiness is a strong emotion and it's a fleeting emotion that will come in and out of your life. But placing our emotional dependency on a marriage, that if I was to get married, or I will be satisfied, I will feel complete, and it's just managing those expectations, which I think are people.
Well, let me tell you a little something. Like back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, marriage wasn't just about getting your child married off because it was their age. It was also a financial agreement between families. So, an affluent family would be, I don't know, something Dudwala would be like, hey, I own all the Dood mills in upper Gujarat. In lower Gujarat, somebody owns, whatever. Let's get their son married to our daughter, because then we will be a really good empire and a strong financial family.
Yeah, definitely.
So it wasn't just about...
Yeah, it's about money, power, status, of course, But now it's different because everybody, women are independent. Women go out, women work, women have careers, they strive, they travel, and it's just a completely different generation.
Yeah.
And they don't need to rely on a man. They don't need a breadwinner.
Men still do. And a lot of the times, a lot of men still rely on women.
I think they do, yeah. I mean, who's going to, if I was a man, I'd be like, who's going to wash my socks? My dinner going to be
I meant
cooked?
financially. I know loads of couples where the woman is earning far more than the man is.
I think that although, that might be the case where, your partner, or she might be earning a lot more than you, but I think men still hold that pride within them that, you know what, I want to be the breadwinner of the family, and I provide. And although, yes, my missus is working and she brings, lots of money to the table, but, I still, I think for a man, I think at the very minimum, he wants to provide for his family.
Yeah.
And, they have that pride in them. And I think that still certainly exists. I think there's very, very few men who choose to be house husbands. Like, you know what, actually, I don't mind my woman being the breadwinner and her going out, and while I stay at home and cook and clean and look after the kids or whatever that may be. I think that is still, I think it's slowly changing. It's very slowly.
I've got a couple of people who responded to my Instagram and my WhatsApp status with regards to, is marriage overrated? And let me read you one before I pass it back to you. So one of my friends messaged saying, marriage is overrated. I don't think you need to be married to show commitment. It's more of a social element now than anything else. How do you feel about that statement?
I suppose this is down to, I think, religion, whether you're a religious person. If you are and you fully understand that, like, for example, as a Muslim, that marriage is about completing half your iman, it's sunnah, and it's a step that you have to take at some point in your life. Whereas maybe for a non-religious person, they might agree and they might think, well, why go for the hassle of getting married? It's interesting, actually, because some may argue and say, well, it's just easier being in a relationship. But is it? Because think about it. If you're in a marriage and you decide to bring that marriage to an end, the heartbreak, the emotions that you go through is still going to be the same as being in a relationship. If you've lived with someone, your emotions will grow, you will connect, you will get attached, and that love will get deeper and deeper. And we all know the deeper the love, the deeper the wound. So you still feel those emotions. So, all right, fine, you might not have the hassle of going through the legal process about getting divorced and going, filling, or if you have children, trying to work out the logistics around the future arrangements, or you resolve any joint finances. So I don't know. When people say, well, it's just easier to stay in a relationship, though, is it though? I think on the emotional side, no, because a heartbreak is a heartbreak, whether you sign that paper or not.
We'll talk about that later, the heartbreak syndrome, maybe not today, in another show. So moving back to my Instagram, I did a little poll, and surprisingly, a lot of people said no, like marriage is not overrated. Some of them are single, some of them are married. And when I asked them for their views and opinions, a lot of them said, first and foremost, you got to keep it halal. So sister, that is something we have to bear in mind, regardless of where we live or what society we've been raised in. And I suppose a lot of people were saying things like it depends on what your marriage is like. Also depends on the kind of relationship you have with your partner. And that brings us back to our previous show that we did on keeping that romance alive in your marriage and keeping it rolling and keeping that spark there. But is marriage overrated? The consensus on my Instagram says no, it's not. Let's have.
I think I'm going to just give I'm going to give my view on this and the other side of the coin. I don't think marriages are overrated. I think in my world, a new kind of marriage has emerged. One that can promote self-discovery, self-esteem, and personal growth. And I love the idea of having a growth-centered marriage, because that's something I can achieve. It's about, it's a partnership, and you have your goals, he has his goals, and it's just pushing each other to help you both reach your full potential and be the best version of yourselves.
Absolutely.
I think, don't get me wrong. Yeah, we all have a void in our hearts, right? Adam needed Eve, and vice versa. We crave for companionship, yeah. But I think it's so crucial that it's important that we find that contentment within ourselves first. Be comfortable in our own company before we go out to look for a partner. And then I think we then have realistic expectations of a marriage. I suppose that's just my idea of marriage. It isn't just to complete me and where I'm looking for happiness. But like I said earlier, it will come. You'll have good times, bad, good moments, bad moments, and it's just about working through it. And I think the commitment is different when you sign that paper, whether it's legally or the nikah paper. You will, because if you think about a marriage, it represents. It comes with it tests, trials, so many different challenges, and if you are tied together, it's a different level of commitment. You're most likely to work with your partner and get through those difficult times. Whereas if you're not married and you are presented with difficulties and challenges, it's easier to walk away because you think, well, actually, what I'll do is get up, pack my bags, and I'm out.
Here's an interesting one that I got on my Instagram as well. A female friend of mine messaged saying, I'm 30, I'm in my 30s with zero responsibilities and I couldn't be happier. So yeah, definitely overrated, sister. And I was like, okay, cool.
Well, she certainly has found contentment within herself, but I think no, a marriage provides stability, a sense of security for some, and it gives you that reassurance that yes, my partner is here with me through everything we do, and it's just about working through it.
Okay, so enough of the female perspective. Okay, fine. We've got a lot of the female perspective in the sense that we've got to keep it halal, and there's no responsibilities, no in-laws, no children, no getting pregnant, and messing up your beautiful hourglass figure. But what about men? Men, do they think marriage is overrated? If so, why? Do they have a reason to think marriage is overrated? Because to be fair, with men, they are a little bit like birds, right? They can fly away from the nest, they can make another nest, and they have a lot more independence. And more importantly, nobody.
Do they have a lot more independence?
Yeah, I mean, you don't judge the men, right? In our community, they don't get judged for having an affair. They don't get judged for having multiple wives. They don't get judged for moving out of home after the age of 30. Whereas if you're 30 plus and you're a female single woman, you're still stuck at home.
Yeah, I agree. That's an interesting one, definitely. Yeah. So we'd like to hear from a man.
Yes, let's get that man on line with us.
Let's play Anishi first, and then hopefully, after we come back,
we're going to
have our guest speaker.
We're going to play a couple of ads, and then after that, we'll put a nice nasheed on for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's one of my favorites, but we'll talk about it shortly. See you guys after the break.
Okay.
This is Aisha. Her father died in an accident at a very young age. She lives with her mother and siblings. There are millions like Aisha who do not have access to the very basics of life, resulting in her and many others not being able to attend school. Through Minhaj Welfare Foundation, your charity is dedicated towards supporting the full needs of orphans and needy children around the world. Donate today. Call us now, 0300 3030 777, or visit us on minhajwelfare.org.
Waris Food Store, the place to go for all your meat and groceries. We stock thousands of items from fresh fruit and veg to all your favourite Ramadan food products. Based at 420 Hoe Street in Walthamstow, we can deliver anything you need right to your doorstep. Just give us a call on 0208 521 0000 and take advantage of our huge Ramadan offers. Warris Food Stores is now also available on Uber Eats.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximize the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk. Alternatively, contact our sales team now on 07944 56 5616. That's 07944 56 5616.
Does your pizza excite you? The London Pizza Depot invites you on a journey with our worldwide inspired pizzas. To the smoke and jerk drums of Jamaica, to savor the Caribbean hot, to sunny California, to enjoy the greatest invention, the Cali cheeseburger. Transport yourself with every bite. Our authentically prepared hand-stretched dough, freshly diced veg, finest cuts of halal meat, and our 100% mozzarella cheese ensures the delivery of a masterpiece every time. Visit www.londonpizzadepot.co.uk or our branches in Ilford or Plaistow. Now you can enjoy buy one pizza, get one free every Tuesday. T's and C's apply.
You're the reason my life's worth living. You're the reason I'm alive. I'd be lost without you. You're the reason that I strive. You're my destiny. You're my reverie. You're the reason that I breathe. You are all that I believe. Ilahi, 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 Mola. Ilahi, 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 Mola. हो मलंग में जिंदगी की राह चल चला है खुदा एक तेरा मेरा है एक फलसफा खाना बदोश हूँ मदहोश हूँ तेरे इश्क में मैं शराबूर हूँ इलाही 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 मौला Ilahi, 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 Mola. For so long I've been denying, but now I feel like I'm flying. I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive. Now nothing seems impossible. With you I feel unstoppable. I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive. Karabadosh मदहोश हूँ तेरे इश्क में मैं शराबूर हूँ इलाही 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 मौला इलाही 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 मौला ilahi, Mawla, Mawla, ilahi.
Revive FM.
94.0. On the radio.
On your mobile.
And online.
Welcome back. You're listening to Tahreem and Hafsa on the Unspoken Taboos 94.0. How's it going, Hafsa?
It's going well. I'm enjoying the discussion. And
Yeah,
I'm interested
me too.
to hear from our guest speaker.
Tell us a little bit about him.
You know what? He's somebody that's really well established up north. He's quite heavily involved in charity work, community work, and I know he's a huge advocate when it comes to mental health and taboo subjects. He does not serve. He's very popular on Instagram.
He is.
Yes,
I was trawling through his Instagram last night.
And he does lots of Insta live feeds. And you know what? I'm going to let him do his own introduction.
Yeah, I think I want him to do his introduction. But tell us his Instagram name before we get him.
Kongi99. I think I got that right.
Kongi99, where are you? Are you here?
Yeah. And hopefully we'll be
Assalamu alaikum. Kongi?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother?
Kongi, can you hear us? Hello?
Okay, I think Kongi might be having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Kongi, maybe try and call us again and then I'll reconnect you. In the meantime, Hafsa, tell us a little bit about Kongi. Let's forget him doing his introduction. You do his introduction. Go on.
Yes, I was saying that he is someone very passionate about topics like, that we discussed, unspoken taboos. He's very heavily involved in community work, charity work. I know yesterday he put a post out on his Insta live feed where he asked everybody, whether marriages are overrated. I know he got an overwhelming response. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, I really want to hear that response from him. I think he's back online now. So, hello.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me now?
Alaikum salam. We can hear you perfectly. What happened?
I don't know, some technical difficulties, I think. I just think he doesn't want us to talk about marriage by the looks of it.
Who does? We would like you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
So my name's Mohammed. I'm from Blackburn, 29 years old. Do a lot of charity work and just work within the professional field. Professional side of things, I work within IT. That's about it, really. I'm quite a boring guy, I like to think.
You certainly don't sound boring. I was trawling through your Instagram last night and I was very intrigued by your post. And as you know, Hafsa's reached out to you with regards to this topic that we're discussing in today's show. Is marriage overrated? What do you think?
No, I don't think it's overrated. What I do think is overrated is being married by a certain age. All these sorts of social, societal expectations. But in terms of is marriage overrated, I tend to live my life I'm not perfect in any way, but I try to live my life by the fundamentals of the religion. And it's advised to get married, it's recommended to get married. So I don't at all think it's overrated, no, not at all.
Would you agree with me if I said it's love that's overrated and not marriages?
No. I think everybody... See, I'm not at the age of 29, I feel like, I need some companionship in my life. I think it gets to a point where, you've got to be ready for it.
Absolutely.
At times, if you're unsettled or if you're still too young, you think you're ready, but you're not really ready. And I have made those mistakes in the past where I have thought I've been ready, but then when I looked back at it down the line, I thought, wow, what did I do? What was I doing? I wasn't ready at all. I think that's kind of because of culture as well, because we're expected to marry by the age of 25, 26, and then you have this sort of sell-by date, don't you?
Yeah. like Tahreem said earlier. Yeah, we do. That's interesting.
Yeah, you have a shelf line date, and as soon as you're in your mid-20s, you're like, who's gonna marry you? Like, what's going on, bro?
Yeah. Now, Mo, I understand that you put an Instagram post up yesterday, and you were asking your followers whether they think marriages are overrated, and I heard that you've got an overwhelming response. Do you want to maybe read out some of their responses? And I'm interested to know as to what they think.
Yeah, so by the way, I've just been on my Instagram live. I'm still on it while I'm on here, and I've had some really interesting comments on the discussion you've been having. But
lovely.
For the most part, yesterday when I put up the poll, and most people said no, it's not overrated, and that was 65% of people, and quite around 1,000 people took part, I'd say.
Wow.
But some of the responses were, is marriage overrated? Is Sunnah overrated? Marriage is the best thing that happened to me. Alhamdulillah, my hubby and 2 kids. Give and take, what you do for them, they should be willing to do for you, or it won't work. Of course not. So it's only overrated with the wrong partner. People need to understand true happiness doesn't lie in marriage. A varied response, really.
Yeah.
Lots of different responses, but one that kind of struck me earlier was someone said, and I've been calling this for a long time, I think people should carry out pre-marriage counselling or pre-marriage workshops.
Definitely.
Because I didn't know of the figures that you mentioned earlier. 1 in 3 people end up in divorce. That is huge.
It's atrocious.
It's shocking. Yeah, it is utterly shocking. Definitely. So that's interesting what you said about the premarital counselling. What does that look like? I mean, what? So if you were, is that a session that you attend to decide whether you're ready for marriage, or how to look for a suitable partner, or what should you look for in a suitable partner, or how to manage expectations in marriage? How would that work?
For me, so just going backtracking a little, someone actually commented saying it's a shame. A solicitor said 20 years ago, very, very rare to hear about an Islamic divorce. Now Muslims are their biggest clients.
Yeah.
So anyway, in terms of pre-marriage counselling or workshops, what I'd really advise or recommend is to read books on marriage. Especially if you're Muslim, you can read them from an Islamic perspective. Like I said, I try to live my life by the deen and Deeni principles. Now, what I would suggest is there are Islamic marriage courses available. Sign up to them, and you can learn the rights of a husband, the rights of a wife, and kind of get to know what is expected from religion as opposed to what culture expects. Because like you're saying, yes, still very often these days, you have these, gender roles.
Yep.
And like Hafsa said earlier, it's that, I forgot what she called it, but it's
the triple shift.
Like the triple shift, exactly. Which is, I find very unfair. You should be equally sharing responsibilities, in my opinion. But I do also think, going back to the point that was made earlier as well, in regards to in-laws and a male, the husband's mother being very involved. Do you know what? I get a lot of people approaching me on Instagram with marital issues, and a lot of the time, one I hear just as often is the woman's family also being involved in the marriage,
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a very culturally driven dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why I want to tap into that whole pre-marriage counselling, because a lot of people don't actually know what premarital counselling is, and it's simply a form of therapy that occurs before your marriage actually takes place. And it's basically the counsellors are helping you dig deep and revisit previous impressions that you may have formed of marriage through conditioning, through growth as a child. Maybe you've seen a marriage in a shape or a form that has made you conform in a certain way or believe that marriage is supposed to be like this, whereas your partner who you want to marry may be from a completely different upbringing, a completely different dynamics of conditioning, and the two of you together could actually ideally make a really amazing couple. But realistically speaking, when you get married to each other and you're living in that home, that marital home, you come with such different expectations. So I think marital counseling is definitely something needed
in our community. That's interesting. So, Mo, thank you for that, because you've just given me a new business venture. I'm going to look into that.
You and me both have stuff.
Don't worry, I get my partner and Tahreem as well. Yeah, business partner.
I'm always going to be a partner.
Can I join?
No, join you. No, you can join. Of course, we need you. You've got all the Instagram followers. Yeah, that's interesting. But do our community lack of services? Is there such thing like premarital counselling? Does that even exist? I mean, I know that some people might speak to some more learners or alims or strong leaders in the community.
I have family and friends in the US who have had premarital counselling, and they're young couples who go to their local imam and express their interest in the person that they would like to marry. As you know, I've lived in the US, so I've kind of seen the way it's evolved and it's impacted young couples, and it's really good because it kind of helps you manage your expectations from each other. It helps you manage your beliefs, your roles, the dynamics of a Muslim marriage. A lot of the times, I'll tell you why I think personally why the divorce rate, particularly in the Muslim community, is rising, is because up until recently, a lot of Muslim women, be it young or old, were not aware of the Islamic rights as a wife.
Yeah.
I mean, even myself, recently I found out that when you actually get married and you do your nikah, you as a woman can put certain clauses in there. So, and you can put certain clauses in your nikah to say, I will do this, I will not do this. And that's something I never knew. I'm sure majority of women...
Why didn't you tell me this 10 years ago? We definitely have lots of clauses in that contract.
So that's what I'm trying to say, that I think it's the fact that we are evolving as women, as Muslim women. We are becoming more educated, and not just educated on our academic and professional elements, but also religiously we are becoming more sound to what our hukuks are and our rights are. And I think that is where the culture kind of clashes with us, because before women didn't know. So, when you say you have to make roti for your in-laws, you have to make roti for your in-laws. But actually, no, I don't. I can make roti for my in-laws if I want to, because it's a symbol of love and expression for me and my husband's relationship.
Now, I just want to rewind back a little bit, Tahreem, what you said. So, people tend to approach their local imams. Now, I mean, no disrespect to any imam out there, and I know that there are role models in the community. Now, although they might have the knowledge of Islam and Islamic principles, and the rights of a wife, the rights of a husband, in-laws, etc. But I mean, are they the best people to turn to? I think personally, it's those that have wisdom, life experience, and look at more, those that are more inclined to spirituality. And of course, having the Islamic knowledge as well. And actually getting specific training on what premarital coaching should look like. And it's those leaders, and do those leaders exist in our community? And I think that's where we don't.
Absolutely. I think they do. And like I was saying, with having lived in America and my experience in the US, I came across a lot of these scholars and a lot of these imams, and they're great leaders. And that's something I do feel there's a lacking of in the UK. But we will discuss that on another show, because the dynamics of the masjid and the way it's run and the processes in the US is very, very different to the way we are run here in the UK. But coming back to the premarital counselling elements of it, I believe that it can help you resolve future issues that have not even arisen.
Definitely,
It can help you discuss future topics that you may have not considered.
Managing those expectations, that's all it is. It really is just managing expectations.
Absolutely. And I think more importantly, it allows you to discuss your past and things that may have affected you, not just your expectations from a marriage and from your husband, but just small experiences.
You might have unresolved trauma, which
when I was 10 years old, a boy put gum in my hair, and now I've got a fear of gum. I'm being very trivial here right now, but and also, another thing that I learned in the US from my cousins and nieces who have gone through this process is the one thing that it teaches taught them before they got married, which is something that I certainly was not aware of before I got married. And I'm sure a lot of my female friends and male friends were not aware of this, is money management. You don't actually talk about money properly until you're in that situation. You leave it to the parents that, oh, my mom and dad will discuss it. Jahez kitna dena hai, bari kitni deni hai, and dowry, and how much is your meher going to be.
I think people's focus tend to be on the actual marriage and the wedding day itself. Okay, let's plan our wedding. You know, what's our budget for the venue? What am I going to wear? Food, what we're going to eat, as opposed to afterlife. Like, after married life, what's it going to look like? The reality.
And the one thing that we don't discuss is marriage.
Reality.
Like, listen, darling, you earn this much, I earn this much. Who's going to pay for the rent and who's going to pay for the food? Are we going to have a joint account? Are we going to save? What percentage of contribution are we both making? Especially
and even if things like, if marriage was to come to an end, and what would that look like for us? If I know it's all a big if and we can't predict the future, but I think we don't pay enough attention to the logistics of marriages, and then we realize too late when it's too late, and it's like, oh, but you didn't tell me this, and I didn't know this, and what will happen when we have kids? Will you expect me to go work, give up my career, or go part time, or are you going to push me towards my goals? And it's just things like that. Yeah, definitely, I definitely agree.
So what does our 29-year-old expert have to say to this?
Oh, you're still there? We haven't bored you.
Yeah, I'm still here. I've just been taking in what you guys have been saying, really, but absolutely bang on. Especially the bit about the culture in the culture in the masajid and overseas is completely different as to what we have here. It's a lot more forward thinking, and I do think we need that over here, because a lot of the advice then derives back to culture sometimes, or from a cultural mindset, and it's not, we need to kind of evolve. That doesn't mean to say we're changing the deen. We need to let men and women both know about their rights, and just be a bit more open, transparent, not to try and hide things under. But at the same time, I also think that people have become less what's the word? How can I say it? They become more selfish.
They haven't become less tolerant, I think.
Or too comfortable in their comfort zone. And I think
exactly.
And we don't want to make sacrifices, definitely.
I think what's happened is, I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, is that as we have evolved as individuals, and as we have started to prioritize our individuality and our self-love and self-development, we've kind of lost the element of empathy and sacrifice and compromise. And actually, the crux of it is that marriage is based on great communication skills and good intimacy, of course. But more importantly, it is all about love and sacrifice and compromising with each other. And that's something which has kind of diminished over the years, hence the rise in divorce, hence the 1 in 3, because everybody's so like, oh no, I do this, I'm going to do this. I want to live here, I'm going to live here. I want that color sofa, I'm going to have that color sofa. I don't care, do one. And it's that whole attitude and demeanor of
focusing on your rights. Yeah, but it's focusing on your rights. Yeah, although it's important to be aware of your rights. Of course, it's both Islamically.
There's a fine line.
We don't focus on sacrifices. And I think going back to what you said earlier, more that parents and families, do we encourage our daughters, our sons, that marriage is about sacrifice, and it's the growth, and it's through that growth that will strengthen you as a human, and these tests, these trials, these hardship are there for a reason. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, for some people there's so much injustice done in marriage through lots of different reasons, whether you're going through abuse and zulm, you're not expected to put up with that. So I know people say do sabr, but and I think it's just about being more aware, and where do you draw that line? I mean, how okay, we make sacrifices, but how much sort of what's a big sacrifice? What's expected? What's normal to, or what's reasonable for you to make a sacrifice on this or that or whatever that may be. And it just varies. But I think very much we want to protect our sons and daughters. We don't want them to end up getting hurt. We don't we want them to be treated rightly by their partners. But going back to what you said earlier, Mar, that I think we overprotect them, allow them have some room for growth, going through pain.
Absolutely.
But I think it's as a society, you know, going through pain or hardship, it's seen as there's so much negativity associated with it. You know, no, you can't go through difficult. Everything is about avoiding difficulty. Why? You know, stepping out your comfort zone, rising up to the challenge. That's all growth. Yeah, you know, those tests, you know, they're there to strengthen you, those lessons learned. And remember, Allah only tests the strongest soldiers. So I think, parents do mollycoddle their children a lot, and it's very much known, like,
So
you know.
does your mother mollycoddle you, young man? Tell us that.
Did you make yourself your breakfast this morning? Please say yes.
I'm really spoiled, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, God.
But when it comes down to it, I know what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing. I'm just taking, like, advantage of mother's love at the moment until I'm married, and then she always says to me, you won't be doing this when your wife is here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the one final point I did want to make is the other thing that's going in terms of breakdown of marriage. It's the fact that zina has become so cheap, and you've got all these apps, you've got social media, cheating and everything has become really, really easy, and to cover it up is really easy now.
No, I agree. You know what, the biggest fitna our Prophet feared for this dunya was men and their desire for women.
Yeah.
Dude,
Absolutely.
it's not just men,
And
it's also women. I mean, that is where we can see clearly that the signs of Qiyamah are so visible now, because it's not just the men. It's not just the men. It's women. It's available so readily, and so you don't even have to pay for it anymore.
No, absolutely isn't.
There's so many apps out there, and but yeah, come back to what you the point that you were making. Keep making it, because I was listening. It sounded really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mohammed.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I was just saying, it's just become so easy to cheat.
Yeah.
I mean, myself, I've been cheated on twice, so it is something I've personally been through. You don't really hear of men going through it because men don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's many men and women that go through it. Sometimes 2-3 partners at a time. I mean, just the other day I was speaking to somebody, and they said to me that the father used the son's picture on Muzmatch.
Oh gosh.
Literally.
Wow.
So you can just imagine how bad it's gotten. And didn't tell her until they met up.
That's crazy.
Oh God. Deceive.
It's honestly crazy, and people will go to all sorts of lengths these days to cheat, to deceive. Some people are in there to even, you know, financially drain their partner. It's really hard to make out who's real, and that's why I think it's really important now to kind of base your marriage on deen and see if that person's actions match them. Because other than that, it's really hard to find out who's genuine and who isn't.
It is, and it is hard there. So, before we come to the end of our show, more just any wise words to our listeners about marriages, and any advice you can give about what people do to make sure that they know that they're ready and making the right decision.
Go like I said, read books on marriage. Go complete some marriage courses, maybe 1, 2. Speak to local scholars, someone that's young and someone that's going to, think alike. And then ask yourself, are you really, really ready for the commitment? What I did is, I was previously engaged. What I usually do is go on YouTube, listen to lots of lectures on marriage, understand my roles as a man, understand the wife's right, because it's important to understand her rights as well, because we're brought up seeing our mum and dad. They might accept, our mothers might accept things that girls today may not accept. Now, we can't base our marriages on our parents' marriage. We need to really learn and understand both genders, and
Definitely. That's interesting.
Really.
Yeah. So, do you think that it's worth thinking about creating a platform, maybe on social media, where we can have like focus group discussions on not just the youngsters, but the older generation as well, and just their views and their thoughts that, okay, look, because I think although, we should, you should take the responsibility yourself and, look into reading your, books or watching YouTube videos about, what marriage, should look like, what that should entail, etc. But you are still heavily influenced by your parents, your family, and it's hard to disregard what they're saying. And they're shaped, or their mentality and mindset is also shaped in a certain way. But how do you then influence them? And that's where it gets quite tricky, and that's what's hard. So although we come from a different generation, we have a different mindset, our thinking is different. But how do we get them to change their thinking? I think that's hard. I think that's really hard. And I know that obviously our parents aren't really like on social media as much, but I think it's something. Do you think it's worth having these focus groups, in the community where we set up, where we come to have these discussions together? We come together as a community on a weekly basis to just to influence people on what they think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these circles should be had. These lectures should be had within mosques as well, where the elders of the community maybe listen on the transmitter or by going to the masajid to have these conversations and make them understand what the roles and rights of a husband and wife are, and that they shouldn't get involved in their child's marriage. This is what I like. The problem is, though, because he speaks in English, we need to we don't want to be in an echo chamber. That's the worst thing we could do, because we may know this, but it's the cultural mindsets that we need to kind of influence.
Definitely, yeah. I think that's an interesting.
Okay, well, it has been a pleasure having you on our show, Mohammed, and we're definitely going to have you on the show again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, for
thank
such
you
a
so
young
much.
man. I'll definitely be messaging you and asking you lots of questions. Thank you so much for coming on, and inshallah we'll have you on the show again.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mo. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Definitely was an interesting discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I've had lots of comments. I will share them with you later.
Please
really appreciate it. And a fantastic discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Walaikum salam.
Oh, lovely. What a lovely young man. It was really nice talking to him, actually, because it kind of brings brings things to light to you that you wouldn't think about. And I certainly think that the whole element of counselling, premarital counselling is definitely a big thing. It should be zoned in on in the UK, considering the marital statistics are rising in terms of divorce. This is about your future, so invest in your future. If you're going to spend 5k on a wedding dress, you know what, save that 1k and buy a 4k dress instead, and spend that 1k on premarital counselling, because
it's a lifetime investment. It's a lifetime investment.
Definitely going to invest in something that is going to help you have a fruitful, long marriage, inshallah. We've had a couple of comments on our live stream as well from a Mr. Adnan Patel, and currently unmarried, bare failed relationships, giving up marriage, giving out. Okay, so anyway, that was really, really interesting.
Yes.
Mr. Patel, you are quite a character. I think you keep listening. Maybe we can teach you a few things.
Pick up a few tips.
But anyhow, guys, lovely talking to you all. I hope you enjoyed the show, and may we continue.
Yes, thank you for tuning in. You were on the show, the Tahreem and Hafsa, the Unspoken Taboos, and have a lovely week. We look forward to coming back next week for another exciting show. Once again, thank you very much for listening, and take care for now. Assalamu alaikum. Bye.
Everyone can now get free rapid COVID-19 tests twice a week. They show your